Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you are new. If you are new, I would love it if you would consider subscribing before you leave. Subscribing is free to you. It is just kind of like following somebody like you would on like other social media platforms, and it just makes sure that you get notified when I post other videos. So I know you might have just got here and you don't know yet if you're even gonna like what I share, but I hope you do, and I hope you subscribe and stick around. Today we're gonna be doing some really fun, easy fall DIYs. I know it's still early. I'm not pushing summer out of the way. Trust me, I'm loving summer, but Dollar Tree items, our Dollar Tree is starting to carry some fall items in at least where I'm living in North Carolina, but I know it is in other parts of the country as well. And you gotta pick them up while they're there because they don't last long. So see what I'm making, and then maybe if you're interested, you can pick up some items and then save them till you're in the mood to do fall DIYs. You can come back and watch this video and make them at that time. We're gonna be getting into fall DIYs this month, but probably not just fall items, but it's YouTube, so we do things a little bit early, so that's what I'm doing. Anyways, today we are making some really easy pumpkin DIYs. These are not making over pumpkins. We're actually gonna be making things kind of like into pumpkins, and it's either with Dollar Tree items, and I have one that is like an upcycle project, so I hope that you enjoy it. Let's get into the first pumpkin DIY. So for this first one, we're using these wooden crates from Dollar Tree. They also have them without the spaces between the slats, but either one would work. And I am giving this a nice coat of paint. I am using Waverly chalk paint in the color orange, or I'm sorry, in the color pumpkin, but you could use any paint or any color you want. I did think about using some different colors, but for now I just went with the orange. And I'm covering everything, the inside, outside, in between the slats, but I'm not worried about doing the thickest coat. It kind of looks it from here, but it's really not in person. If you see any of the wood through, I did not mind that, but paint it to, you know, whatever your preference is there. Once your pumpkins are dry, we are just going to now embellish. We're going to do one standing up and one sideways, and I have these green leaves left over from a floral pick from like a long time ago. They've just been hanging out in my stash, so I thought they would work perfect. I actually really love the little coloring on the edges. I put a dab of hot glue at the bottom of it to pinch it together because I felt like it would help it stand up a little bit more and give it a little bit more life so it wouldn't be just laying flat. And then I have these little wooden pieces that I'll show you in a minute. These are also from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just gluing them on top. But you can also pick up those wooden pieces from like Hobby Lobby or from your yard. Moving on, we are painting this glass jar. You can use a mason jar of any size. I had this cute round jar from Jarred Peaches that I always save these jars because I think they're really cute. So I'm priming this with just a coat of Mod Podge, but you could actually use a spray primer if you want, and then painting the top green or the color moss from Waverly and the bottom in that pumpkin again. The Mod Podge or a primer just helps the paint adhere better and not chip as well from glass and metal, so I do tend to do that, and I'm using my hairdryer to speed up the drying process so I could do multiple coats. I ended up with 2 coats on the metal lid and I think 3 coats on the jar, but do, you know, whatever you need to do based on the coverage you're looking for and the paint you're using. So I know I didn't show you the last pumpkins quite finished yet. I will show all of them at the end. I'll let you see them all side by side, and I want you to tell me which one you think is your favorite. So once the paint is dry on these jars, we're going to give another coat of Mod Podge. That just helps prevent the paint from chipping, especially once again on the metal and the glass. But this step is not necessarily necessary, but do it if you want. Just what I like to do. So once again, you're going to wait until this is fully dry, and we're going to just pop the lid on. You don't have to glue it or secure it at all unless you want to. And then these are those little wooden pieces. Like I said, they are from the Dollar Tree. I've just had them for a while. And we're going to hot glue one in the center. And then for this one, instead of using a leaf, we are going to tie some raffia around it. You can buy this from the Dollar Tree as well, and at the seasons like fall and winter, maybe other seasons too, but I know those two, they have different colors available, but I just have this natural one already on hand, so I'm just tying it around. I didn't want to make it bulky, so I'm just going to tie it and add a dab of hot glue to secure it, and then trim off the edges. For this next one, we're going back in with some more raffia. I am going to just pull a chunk of this out. I don't have a certain amount. You're just going to grab whatever you want
And I'm wrapping it around my fingers, but if you wanted a bigger one, you could easily wrap it around like a piece of cardboard or a box or a container of some kind, and we're just gonna wrap it up. Now, I did see this idea somewhere, but I don't remember where. When I know I'm gonna make something, I do tend to write it down so that I can mention where I got the idea from, but sometimes I don't know, or I saw it a long time ago, or I've seen it by many, many people. So it is what it is. I'm sure this has been done by multiple people in the past. So I'm using a piece of raffia to tie it in half, tie my little bundle in half. But as you can see here, as I went to tie it, my piece broke and I had to start over again. So raffia, some pieces are thinner, some are thicker. Grab a thicker piece to tie this up. That would be my recommendation. So we're gonna do it again, tie it all up. And I, this time, tied it like 2 or 3 times just to make sure. And then we're gonna just trim off any crazy stragglers. So now you're just going to stick your fingers in between each of the sides and the loops and pull it apart and just kind of work on it for a little while, just kind of trying to separate it and bring it all together. I shortened this up a bit, but I did play with it for a little bit longer than what you're seeing here. And then you are going to take some little pieces of raffia and tie little sections together, especially on those 2 ends, to try to make every piece meet, and just kind of do that little sections at a time until you have the overall look that you're looking for. Now remember, this is definitely a rustic pumpkin. It's not going to be perfect with the raffia. It's not like smooth and perfect, so that makes it a little bit easier. And this is a little short and squatty pumpkin, but like I said, you could certainly make it bigger by wrapping it more times. So for this one, we're going to make a little curly Q out of some green floral wire. Just cut a piece and wrap it around a pencil, or in this case, I'm just using a foam paintbrush handle. And we've got a little curly Q, and that's what we're doing in place of a leaf. You could, of course, substitute all of these for one another on the different projects. I'm just kind of wanted to make them all a little bit different. So we're just going to hot glue that down, and then I have another wood piece that was actually broken in half, which I thought worked perfect because this one is so small. But I'm just going to hot glue that on top to help hold that metal piece in place. So for this next one, I have this dish towel or hand towel that I just kind of had in my fall stuff, but you could use any piece of material you wanted. I cut a square, and then I've got a little plastic baggie we're going to fill with some rocks from Dollar Tree, and then we're going to tear up some cotton balls. Tearing them up makes them a little bit more fluffy, and we're just doing this till I have the amount that we want. Just checking to see if it's around the right size, and it wasn't. But you could use, Dollar Tree has those little bandanas in various patterns. That would be really cute as well. So I am tucking in the wood stems once again, wrapping the baggie around it, and we're going to tie a rubber band around it. Not fully tight, because what we're going to do is pull the fabric up around. You can see I've already trimmed my fabric a little bit more. We are pulling the fabric up and over the rubber band, so you're hiding the rubber band. I had to trim this down quite a bit because my towel was a much thicker material, and so it was getting a little bulky around there, so I tried to just trim it up pretty well. And we're just going to tuck that all in until it's all tucked in, I guess. I don't know. This one I also have seen multiple places, but I don't remember where. It wasn't another one that I was going to make. I just had the stuff and I was like, hey, I think I've seen a way to do this. Let me see if I can remember how. And once again, not going to be a perfectly round pumpkin. It's just more rough and rustic looking. So this one we're going to go in and tie some raffia. This one I just tied it in a bow. I didn't have to hot glue it or anything, but I just tied a bow and trimmed off the ends. And we have one more, and then I'll show you how they all look together. So this one is similar. I have these little burlap sacks from Dollar Tree. This is one I had picked up with the white polka dots, but they do have different patterns. And because it's a little bit thinner, I'm going to cut the tag out from the inside because I don't want that to be seen. And then we're going to repeat the process of the last one. We're going to line it with a plastic bag. I am using those full top ones so you don't have the bulk of the Ziploc bag, but go ahead and do what you know, whatever you've got. And if you need to, you can always just trim off the Ziploc part. Also, I recommend when buying rocks for fillers, these are ones I already had on hand, check them because the different bags at Dollar Tree have different weights. So I always go for the one with the largest amount of weight or the highest amount of weight. So now we're just going to tuck our stem in, and then we're just going to cinch the burlap bag and tie it off. Now I will say the tie here is a little bit bulky because the string on it or whatever is a little bit thicker, so I don't know, you could possibly just pull that, I don't know, maybe just hot glue it and then pull the little ribbon out. I don't know. But this is what I did and it worked fine. And I'm just putting little dabs of hot glue on the corners at the bottom and folding them in so that we have a little bit more of a round shape. And then because of that little tie piece, I was like, oh, I want to cover that up. So I just wrapped around some twine. You could go all the way up the stem if you wanted. I did not. I went about halfway up, but however you want to do it, you know, make these your own. These are just ideas, guys. We're going to hot glue that, and then I did have another leaf in my stash, so we're going to do the same thing I did before. Hot glue the base to pinch it together, and then hot glue it to the stem. And here's how they all looked together, so let me know if you have a favorite. I kind of like the crates maybe the most because I've been thinking about making them the longest, but I really do love how they all came out. So I hope this gave you some really great ideas.
Well, that's going to do it for today's video. If you liked it, once again, don't forget to give it a thumbs up because that really does help me out. You do that by hitting that little like button below. It says like and there's a thumbs up next to it. Click that and subscribe before you leave. Make sure your notification bell is on. I'll be sharing more fall DIYs, other regular DIYs, Christmas DIYs before too long, and the occasional crafting haul so that you know what items that you might want to pick up if you want to do similar projects. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.